Hello, hello. Welcome to the Become Your Magic Power Hour, where we meet here every Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. in order to ignite those abracadabra moments that lead us to our magic. So I want you to see what I'm sporting today. Abracadabra hashtag Become Your Magic. That's what it's all about. It's about realizing that we are in control of where we go, what we want, how we show up, that the best gift that we've been given is the power to choose. The choices are what controls our destiny. And so becoming your magic is about plugging into the source, plugging into God, plugging into somebody who can give us whatever we need in order to get a little bit further. So it's the refills in life. And so life is about refill. Life is about showing up in your destiny, showing up in your promises. And so in order to do that, you got to plug into you. So without further ado, let me see. We have some comments already. Let me check. Hey, Melissa, you need one of these? I know, honey, you need one of these. Super cute, right? And so we have them with the pink and the blue. We also have it with the silver. So, and you see my little, isn't that cute? Ooh! But yes, we got to get you one of these, Melissa. You are definitely igniting your abracadabra. Definitely. We don't have anything specific to talk about. It is precious thoughts from the soul is the topic, because all of our thoughts are very precious. What we think, how we show up, what we feel is just the foundation of who we will become. And so it's about us really recognizing that becoming our magic is literally us showing up for ourselves. It's literally us being aware of the time that we have. I don't know about you guys, but this I Hire Myself challenge has taught me so many things about myself. Most importantly, it is hard for me to actually keep a schedule. It is something about creating a schedule. So I'm more with the person who was like, okay, I need to make sure that I am doing this 6 hours a day, but it's harder for me to put it on a clock or to put it on a specific time. Or so I think that is what I'm learning in this time. You know, putting down the time and actually committing to that is the point, but that is hard, and that's why it is a challenge. And so that's why I say you are challenging yourself in the area that you want to see the most improvement in, that you want to see yourself actually grow in. And so when we hire ourselves, it's about us saying, okay, this area is what I want, but because I am my boss, I can be flexible. I can see what I need at the time. The great thing about working for yourself is you basically being able to be in the moment, be conscious in that place. And so being conscious is about saying, today, how do I want to show up for me today? How do I feel today? What is my goal? What is it that I really need to see results in? So we can refill ourselves daily by just figuring out what is it that we need in this moment. So sometimes you could wake up and be like, oh, I had an amazing day yesterday. I went live, I did this, I sold, some items, I sold enough to be able to have a day off. But then in that next day, you may be like, well, I really need to relax. I really need to calm down. I really need to sit down and watch a movie with the kids. Why? Because of how busy I was before. So I think hiring yourself allows you to really be conscious of what do you need in the moment? What do you need at the time? What is your goal? What is your end game? What is your intention? And so it allows us to put some action to our intention, setting real, tangible, I would say tangible goals. So it's not about the promise, it's about the process. And so I'm trying to be intentional throughout the process of this goal that I want. Because in order for it to become real, in order for it to become the evidence, I have to what? I have to believe it. I have to have faith through it. And then I have to set up some type of plan, some type of action to accompany the thought. Because the dream is the thought, but the reality is the action. Y'all get it? How do we turn our dreams into reality? It's taking our thoughts and applying action in order for it to be our reality. And so after you have dreamed for it, the next step is to get an action for that said dream, because that is your movement. That is your reality. That is the gift you give yourself with your choices. And so being able to show up, being able to see yourself, being able to be intentional with those precious thoughts that you are having, with those desires, with those dreams, is recognizing that the reality is all in how you walk it out. The reality of creating that picture for yourself is all about how you show up, how serious you are about it. And so if I am serious about being in this race, or I'm serious about doing a contest, whatever it is that I'm serious about, I know I have to sit down. I have to create a schedule to either train in that area, to basically get more information about whatever the thing that I'm doing. So it's my homework, right? Because if I know what I want, then I can figure out how to get there. If I know where I'm going, I can definitely figure out how I'm going to get there. And the way we move is that means of transportation. And so it can be expeditiously because we have more than enough time. Some of us, if you're like me, you just have a whole lot of roles and titles that you have put on your list to fulfill. And so sometimes the parts of you that you really, really, really are dreaming, when you close your eyes and you fantasize about the you could be, it is that I am part that you're really dreaming about. Is that intention, the intention that God has, the investment of you in God's mind. And so that's that desire that's like, oh man, I just can't shake this dream. And so those your roles and titles are just the evidence of your strength, of how you can commit to something that you weren't born to be. So you can commit to being a mom, and you weren't born to be a mom. That's just one of your roles and titles. You can commit to being a dad. You weren't born to be a dad. That's a roles and titles. You can commit to being a good friend. You weren't born to be a good friend. That's a role and title, but we don't commit to the I am. We were born to be the I am. And so being able to actually have faith in our thoughts and really trying to structure real plans that work in our everyday life. And so that's why I wanted to break down that when you are actually showing up for you in whatever area you want to give yourself that refill in, it is being real intentional about what it is you want to do with that time. So if you have 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, 2 hours in the evening that you designate to yourself, it's all about what is going to fill you up in order for you to be amazing in all those other places. So it's like saying you are the car, right? And so we are the vehicle, that's the car. And so the gas is where we get those refills in order to perform in the roles and titles that we are. So I can drive from there to there to there. I can visit that person. I can do that in the car once I fill up the gas tank. I can't just go everywhere without having the fuel. And so you being able to basically hire yourself, clock into yourself, minister to yourself. I mean, literally talk to yourself. You know, that crazy talk that we say, it's crazy to talk to yourself. No, it's crazy not to talk to yourself, because you got to know what it is that you are facing. You got to know what it is that you want, and you got to hear it. You got to hear it to believe it. It's only believable when you put it out into the air, when you say it out loud. So it's like, it just has so much more power. And that's why our voice has so much power. That's why how we feel has so much power, because we have the power and the belief to put it out there so that it can come back to us. Because they said, the word will never come back void. And so we got to be willing and able to actually speak it into our lives, create plans. Let me tell you something. There is nothing that you cannot find on YouTube University. We are in a season right now where anything you really desire, you can basically find out how to get to that thing for free. Free. Man, and
I'm going to tell you, you know what you need? Man, we need to know how to budget our money, man.
Yes.
Oh, I'm over here struggling. I'm looking at and I would have never known. I'm looking at my receipts from Cash App. Like, just I clicked on the person that I do a lot of work for. I clicked on that, and it showed you know, it can show you how much a person pays.
Mm.
And I looked, I said, dang, I don't made that much money from him. Then I looked at the other one, I said, oh man, I made that much from them.
And where's the money, right? Is that what you said?
Where's the money?
Yeah. That is real. Oh, that I think that is the. That's why I said today is just
I'm talking
gonna
about
be
10K. I don't. But if I go through the thing, I can see everything I paid too. That's why I like Cash App too, because I have a problem with. I was the type of person I always had cash on me, so I would just spend. You know, not saying that I'm wasteful, but I would just buy things that I would need, or you know, my wants and needs, and then I would be like, "Dang, what? I just had $1,000 today. Now I only got 200. Like, what the world?" And I can't recollect what I spent it all on. But Cash App helps. It keeps a track of everywhere I spent money. Gas station, Bojangles, whatever. So it helps me out. But I'm really bad at budgeting, man. I think people need to learn how to budget their finances better. I know I do. I can't speak for everybody else. But I'm not good with money at all. That's my wife. She's control of our finances. But I'm just saying, I'm just looking at what I've made. It's like, wow. It don't feel like it. I can't tell.
That part. How many people can't tell?
I made it. It's black and white. There's no denying it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, wow. Maybe I think if you learn how to budget, I think you can see that you actually make more than what you think.
Yes.
You might be worth more than what you think you're worth. If you budget.
Hey, Tammy.
You sat down and did your budget.
I mean, I think that's a great topic for us to talk about today because we haven't gotten into the 15-minute hour where we bring up the topic because, you know, life is about, I think that's a good idea, that budgeting. How many of us have that problem? How many of us are terrible with saving because we are always treating ourselves? And I think that's why it's important to write a plan and maybe commit to something. So what do we want to do today to help us out?
I don't spend $400 at Bojangles. That's crazy.
Because you need, listen, but then that is your break. If you're the chef.
I spent $200 at the daggone tobacco store.
Tammy raising her hand, Melissa raising their hand, because it was like, how many of us realize that we do have money coming through our hands? So we be feeling like we cannot make money, or we just lack. But I think it's really that we just lack to be conscious of it. To be conscious of every time we put it out. To budget to
spend $400 at Bojangles.
Over how long though?
Does it matter?
It doesn't. It doesn't. But then that's the question. Do you treat yourself? Because you said, now let's think about that. If he's a chef and he says that he has made about $10,000 and only $400 went to you actually getting a break from cooking at home, is that a balance? So I think you always got to compare it to what you brought in and to what you came out. I told him that I wanted to do a 30-day challenge where we didn't buy anything new.
$700 with the internet.
Listen.
Yeah, Bojangles and the internet, I don't spend so far this year. I don't spend $1,000 for internet and chicken.
But I'm gonna tell you what the key is. The key
I'm
is.
Just saying, I would have never I would have never.
You would have never what?
Knew I spent that much money on shit. Oh, Lord, let me see. This shit. This God, I don't send somebody $5,000.
Now, how much did you get received though?
4,000.
So now you do the subtraction. Right. So then you only sent them 8.
1,000.
1,000.
You can't count.
Yeah, but 5.3 to 4. Yeah. 1,900. 900. So that's what I'm saying. That's checks and balances. Sometimes we can see what we put out, but we're not paying attention to what we got in. Sometimes we can see, what's going out, but do we see what's coming in? Are we doing checks and balances in our lives and our businesses? Because many of us on here are in business. I know that was one of my biggest problem was as the money was coming in, because as an entrepreneur, you don't
send me about 500.
Yeah, because as an entrepreneur, what you don't realize is that you're actually spending and making and spending and making. That's why you are taught to kind of separate your money. You know how many times I tell Rondell to separate, which is now he's starting to understand why I do what I do. Because when you do that, you don't pull from here and over there, then you can budget out of that account. So if I say this go $200 go to this and that's it. If he gives me money, I'm like, well, it got to go over there. And he's like, that's retarded. Put it all together. No. If you put it all together, you lose track.
$300 that Harris Teeter. God.
You got 5 kids. How much you think you're gonna spend at Harris Teeter?
I spent $3,300 at Harris Teeter.
So now, when you do all that math, you realize you're a millionaire. You've been a millionaire, huh? How many times over you been a millionaire?
Like a millionaire life, but I don't know.
And that is a key. We have to budget our lives in order to actually build the dream. That's why creating a plan and making it clear. So Rondell is about to hire himself to give himself a budget to not touch. You know that credit card that you got to go put over there? That's that Cash App card now. He gotta put that Cash App card over to the side. How many of us are dealing with that we realize that we are struggling because we have poor money management skills? We are not actually saying this is my budget and sticking to it. So like I was saying, I wanted to do a challenge. How many people want to go on with the challenge? I was saying one of the things that I realized is that we go shopping every month. And we have a deep freezer, we have a freezer on the side, and we're always adding to what we already have. Why don't we just finish with all the cabinet, with all of the canned food, all of the bags? How much do you seem to start going through your cabinets and realizing you got a lot of stuff that's expired? Why are we buying stuff that we don't need at the time? Why we have, I think when I say go back to the world of we living in quantity and not quality. And so quality is being able to see what we have, to use what we have before we are getting so much extra on top of what we already holding. And so now we're wasteful because now we're throwing away stuff that we didn't use. Now food is frostbitten because it's at the bottom of the deep freezer. Then, we're looking for stuff, but we're wasting because we're not actually setting good goals and good plans for our life. So I think today is that's a great topic that we're going to talk about.
$1,100 at the parts store.
At the parts store. Oh, well, he does HVAC. So, I mean, that's ain't all your money you count either. Now you're just doing the most. A lot of that is, if that's the parts store, you didn't use $11,000 worth of product at the parts store. That was you buying parts for a job. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the point of the matter is how many of us are guilty of not budgeting? How many of us are guilty of spending? I don't even want to see what I spent with paparazzi. A guilty pleasure that you tell yourself, well, that was $5. Oh, that was that. But then still, when you're supporting Black-owned business, do you really feel guilty? I don't know. But then we go back to the idea of money just being energy. And I think the reason why you keep on flowing is because it keeps on flowing. Now, the reason why we get stuck is because we're not actually being intentional about the flow. I think anytime that you spend money, it should be an investment. If we can make sure that our money that we're spending is going to gain us some form of return before we spend it, it would create a huge impact. Saying, okay, so this is what I'm spending on. What is the investment on this money? Because that's the energy of money for real. It keeps on multiplying itself depending on what the intention is behind it. And so if I say, oh, I'm spending this $200 on my business, I'm invested in getting somebody to do my marketing every 30 days or whatever the case may be, then that's an investment that I can multiply. You know, if I invest and I spent my money on a house, I know that, okay, so I can create equity over time. So that's something I can get a return on. If I go and I start join this business, you know, now I can start on this area of my life. And so now it is an investment. And so I need you to be able to count it. So when I have t-shirts and items, it is not a loss because it is still an investment. At any time I can get a return on that. So it really depends on what you're spending it on for you to see it, because sometimes you got more money in product, which was a smaller margin to invest, but now you're your own source, so you have to multiply it yourself. And so these are all the areas that we really need to pay attention in our spending. I think that'll be a great part of this I Hire Myself challenge, realizing what we're using, how much we're wasting. Because if we can literally sit down and say, this month for 30 days, I'm not going to buy any outside food at all. I don't care. I'm going to challenge myself to use whatever. Before I go out, the only way I buy something outside is because on the 28th day, I've used everything in my house. Do you know how much money we can save doing that? Especially going into this season, especially trying to be intentional about what we just paid attention to. So that was a moment. We didn't know what we was going to talk about at the 15-minute hour, but that's where we need to go, because I think that's how we're going to multiply ourselves. We're going to multiply ourselves by being intentional about how we spend our money, what our budget is, what we're investing in. Is it a return? I did the abundance challenge. Was it a 21-day challenge? And so with Deepak Chopra, I have to send that. It was so amazing. It was so freeing. But one of the things I realized is I had to say, it taught you in the very beginning on one of the days to write every time you are spending, to write on your receipt, all that has been invested is good and will return to itself 7 times over. That allowed me to be a little bit more calm with being fearful of, what's due. Because I know that if I go get that, it is an investment into where I'm going. And so now I started to think like that. So now I didn't see it as me spending. I saw it as me gaining the multiplication, but being an action of the multiplication, being able to see the multiplication in the investment. And so if I decide that this week I was gonna not cook dinner, it was because I was investing in a free day for my time. I was buying my time back. And so it means something different when I splurge on food outside because of all the work you've done. So if you've been working 40 hours a week and you're doing a million things and you're tired, then definitely you afforded the opportunity to order in so that you can get that valuable hours that you would spend actually preparing a meal. So that's an investment. And so it's not just that I'm being lazy, I don't feel like doing, I didn't cook 5 days this week. It is saying I've earned this opportunity, I've earned this right. And so we got to put ourselves on like earning things within ourselves, saying, you know what, I did good. I didn't splurge. I didn't buy anything. I saved up this month. I was at this much in a week. I was able to pay myself this. And now I'm creating this security, this dream fund. So that's another way to multiply your life and create that type of dream fund, by being intentional with those different details. Let's see. Thanks for Thanks for the spanking, Precious. Correct. Spending on investments on something that will make you money back in return. And I think that's good investments. And so when Rondell is reading a lot of stuff, like what he got in and what he's putting out, is realizing that is investment. And then you get to say, if I was intentional about that investment, how am I going to multiply it? Because I still got to show up to multiply it. You know, and so if I invest in the product, if I invest in the program, if I invest in the in that business opportunity, the other part is to get in action so I can see the multiplication on my investment. It's not going to return itself. I got to put in the work to make it return itself to me. So those are great investments that are good to make, especially in this time in the pandemic. Is teaching us to basically value what we're spending so that we can get a return, and that we got to move money. That is all about you moving money. But the question is, where are you moving it into? Are you moving it into a hole? Are you throwing it away? Sometimes we're just throwing it in the trash. The question is, are you throwing your money away, or are you creating a lasting legacy? Are you trying to create a way of you multiplying it? And so we got to change our relationship with money. I think that is a great, great, great conversation, especially with as big as your family is. Eating out definitely adds up. Let me tell you something. I say we are gratuity shorties. I laughed some years ago. We had moved. We got these amazing neighbors. Shout out to Ty and John and Josh. But one day we was like, okay, let's all go and let's go out to eat. Now, we, being a family of 7, have always been treated with such disrespect, with gratuity added, like we're always a party. So I'm used to my bill always being extra just because we come as 7. So this particular day, I don't think they are used to going out to eat with such a large party. Just imagine if they just got a couple or something, but that's like when they added with us, it was 10 people. And when we went out to eat, they gave out the receipts at the end. And honey, they looked, and I had to crack up laughing because I knew exactly what they were thinking. Because I was like, oh, shoot, I forgot about gratuity. We should have let them sit at a table and talk across the thing. But it was so hilarious because they ended up paying a whole meal to sit with us. So I know that, listen, I am the queen of, what would you say? Flea market shorty. I am the person that is going to get the best bang for my buck. You better call me Miss Frugal. He married good. Huh?
Not the best bang, the cheapest bang for your buck.
The cheapest bang. So I had to learn how to be able to be, so we were a perfect match. His nickname was Bill Gates. He spent, and I'm like, hello?
I'm getting steak and lobster, she getting chicken tenders.
Right. That is so true. That's our life. That is our life.
I want the lamb with asparagus, and she, give me chicken tenders.
I want the cheapest thing on the menu. I'm just, it's just who I am. So that's why I'm like, oh, so trying to be able to operate in the business is like, this ain't gonna work. I gotta change my mindset. I gotta understand value. And so the more I'm growing, the more I'm having access to Bill Gates over here, the more I'm realizing how important it is to flow. So we're trying to rise up to our names, right? We're trying to rise up to royalty. And so we should be able to spend it and not think about it, but the way we do that is to create a plan to get to the position to spend without thinking about it, to get to the position to be able to say, oh, it's because of this, it's because of that. And so we got to be intentional with these small steps by just looking at our Cash App. I was listening to somebody the other day. I thought it was so powerful. So that's why it's so good that you say that cosign. He was saying that when you look at your, it was in, I can't even remember what the guy's name is. I be on YouTube and it just can pop up at anywhere, but it's always what I need to hear at the time. I moved that to God. So, but he was talking about, go into your bank account and you'll recognize that the average person will have 50 to 60 things coming out. And depending how you're paid, 2 things going in. And so that math is just out of control. It's about us being able to figure out ways to bring more in. You understand? Instead of taking so much more out. And so until we can find balance, meaning finding the values in the stuff that we can multiply, that's why they say multiple streams of income, because that means that multiple money is coming in my account. So it doesn't matter if I'm spending it. But if you aren't getting multiple streams of income coming in, then we are digging ourselves into a grave by spending so freely and not actually controlling. So that's time management as well, because you got to sit down and budget your life. So that's another area to hire ourselves. So the thing we can realize is that while we're trying to make money, we got to realize all the money that we're already bringing in monthly. So sit down and figure out, how much do I actually bring in monthly through all of my side hustles or just my job? And then ask myself, now how much am I buying monthly? And try to balance that out until you get to that place where you're bringing in more than you're spending. Whereas Kia said, now you're on your, everything is just coming right out of your account because it's there. You're not worried about calling them and moving it over because you have budgeted your life to say, I'm going to make it work by baby steps. I'm going to be intentional. You hear that intent? And so now we're going to be intentional because we know that we can have more. If you bring it in that one, where? We say that all the, where is the money? Where did it go? Where can you even see it?
You got to be in tune.
You got to be in tune.
With your finances.
Yes, Melissa, you did the 21 days of abundance with me. That's what it's amazing. I think everybody should do it. It freed me up. Emotional blocks. I mean, it was powerful. Powerful. Yes, money is currency meant to be constantly moved to multiply itself. It's true. So the question is, are we moving it enough to multiply itself? We're doing more subtraction than multiplication. And I think that's why we're stuck. We're doing more subtraction than multiplication. And so you can only multiply when you're investing.
But I think too, we gotta look at the big picture like me. Like, what's a good paying job would be if somebody say, oh, I make $25 an hour. That's a good paying job. $25 an hour is good. It's real good. I think the average income is like $10 an hour, $12 an hour, something like that. So if you're making 25, you're making double what the national average is of income. But $25 an hour, that's only $1,000 a week, right? $4,000 a month, right? Now, once you add in your insurance that you got to pay every week that comes out your check, your taxes. I know you're gonna, cause job. I know you're making $25. They got 401k, so now you're investing in your 401k. And God forbid if you had child support or any other thing, they got to come out your check. But just say you just got your insurance and your 401k coming out, right? I got a family of 7, so my insurance is always at least $250, $300 a month. So that'll come out to what a week? Let's say about $100 a week. So that'll already get you down to 9. The taxes gonna hit you, man. It's gonna take at least $200-$300 out. So now they get you down to about 6. So you had 600. You had like 2,400 for the month to pay all the rest of your bills, man. So in essence, man,
we are miracles.
Is the job really
worth the time you're spending?
Is it really?
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. Is it really $2,400 a month? You can't make that doing your own thing. I think you can. I think I can. I did. I do it. It's proof.
Or at least like doing something you love.
I don't feel like it, but it's. I got the evidence.
Like I said, or at least like I said, as long as you're doing something that you love, is you're gonna get fulfillment in more than one area.
No, you don't need to see. No, I disagree. I think you need to do what you have to do in order for you to do what you love
to do. Yeah.
You just can't jump out there and doing what you love. It don't.
I'm saying the job.
If it happens, you're lucky.
No, I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying that everybody don't want to be a boss. Everybody doesn't want to be independent. Some people like to be behind the scenes. But I'm saying that even if you're doing something that you like, you can grow in it. And I'm just talking about that fulfillment, that abundance, that all the full circle. So I was just going from another part. So everybody isn't responsible enough to want to get up, because when you are an entrepreneur, it is way more work in the beginning.
Man, just do the math. It's math.
It's being clear about.
Math is the oldest science in the universe. Math.
Because even as amazing as I am, I can't make money every single day. So I'm just saying, it's still being faithful for what you're bringing to the table is a whole type of walk. It's saying that I'm more confident. You have to become confident in what it is and your show up game in order to be like, I'm going to let my life lie on myself. So, I mean, that takes a whole type of beast within itself, because some days you can walk up, it's like, are you going to be stressed? You got this thing due, but then you can also tell yourself, I have the power to say, okay, if I sell 4 books, that could cover the bill. If I sell 3 shirts and that, you have the power to control, your days per se, but you still have to be willing to get up and do the work. Nobody's going to cut you a check.
No.
Nobody's going to cut you a check.
It's not falling out the
It's
sky.
not going to fall out the sky. You got to make everything I do, I got to grind to get it. There is nobody just saying, you know what? I just want to send you $1,000 today. You've been blessing my spirit. That just doesn't happen. So you just really got to be committed. That's what I'm saying, passionate about what you're doing as you're doing that work, because that's the investment time. And, you know, having good teammates, having people that support you on the beginning steps are huge. And so that's why I said everybody may not want to jump out there and be a boss, but like you said, while you're working in maybe your position, you're a volunteer somewhere that feeds your spirit enough for you to get some tools, because even in your volunteering, you are investing time in which you're going to get a return, because knowledge is power. And so that information you can take wherever you go. And I think that's why a lot of times when people are going into broadcasting and going into different fields, they volunteer. What's the word? There's a word for it. It's on the tip of my tongue. What's it called when internships? So you're not getting paid for that. You're investing your time, but guess what the payment is? They know that the knowledge that you gain is the return. And that's far more greater than them even saying, I'm going to pay you for your time. And so it's about being intentional and knowing that that time does matter. So are you investing even on your part-time in areas that are going to grow your passion? So that when you're ready to step out in faith, because you have maybe worked at a job that taught you checks and balances, and then you learn how to deal with people. So you're just still structuring yourself for the butterfly effect, but you still got to be a caterpillar. You got to crawl before you can fly. And so, but you want to make sure that you are stepping into places.
You got to learn how to use your pot, use your oil, and go borrow pots. Like, I look at it like this, man. Any situation, like for instance, you want to get a new car, right? Somebody want to get them a new car. They got the money, but they really don't got the money. Okay, so what would you do to get a new car, man? You would create an income for the new car. If I get a new car, then why not Uber? Why not? Oh, I don't want people driving on. I don't want to pick up strangers. Okay, well, you can Uber Eats. Oh, I don't want to. Well, then you don't need to get you no new car. Get you something cheap.
And see that? We just said, how do you multiply? And so James broke down that. James Sutton have a book about
I like to travel, right? I got a big family. How can I travel? How can I pay?
Tell them what you did, baby.
I got a part-time job at a hotel where I get discounted rooms.
Come on now.
I can travel. I hustle through the job so that I can be able to afford my family to travel. Nice places. I don't stay at no bull crap. I stay at nice. I'm talking about $200 room.
Yeah.
A night rooms, man. I'm staying at for little or nothing. But you know what I'm saying? My kids, that's an experience that I can never pay for. You understand? It's like a damn, what's the name?
And it was definitely an investment. And so, but let me tell you something that I was always clear of when we did travel, we did anything. I made sure to tell them the reason that you get to stay in these places that are this beautiful, that you got breakfast served at Embassy Suites, is because your daddy gets up and he goes to that hotel and he works there, and he's taking time away where he's not getting paid nowhere near his value for the exchange of being able to give you guys an experience. That's why it's very important to be transparent. It becomes priceless. And so his time, that investment of time that wasn't equal to what he was worth, created an experience of a lifetime that our kids, so we have 5 kids that were able to travel, to go to Disney, to go to different places because of how he spent his time. So it didn't mean that he had the money to pay. It means that he had the time to invest for the exchange. He had to borrow pots. I love that. He had to borrow pots. And so it's so important that we recognize how are we creating these lives. And so you may not be able to just start at that high place, but maybe if you can volunteer to help somebody who's doing what you aspire to do, what you dream about doing. Everybody will always love a volunteer. I'm sorry. People always take volunteers. But that is how you are seen. So maybe you are working in the field and you have a dream of doing something, but you're just a little bit afraid because you don't know enough. Well, take take control of your life by learning what you don't know in order to get into that thing. Become an asset. Yeah.
So once you become an asset, man, that's when the money comes.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Frugality queen. Yes, honey, that's the word for me, right, Kia? Okay, so let me see. Where was I at? Let me get some of these comments because we got some talking going on. That part, coming up with the plan to be able to treat yourself when you want to, and that's it. It's just freedom. You know what I realized? I used to say, "Oh my God, I don't know why people need this, why they need that," and because I was coming from my lack mentality. What I realized is that what money does is buy your time back. That's all it is. And so if I invest in me in order to multiply the me I am right now, guess what I can do? I can now get the funds to buy my time back. And so when you got a chef at the house, is because when they're cooking, you're buying your time back. When you got somebody coming in and cleaning, some people hate to clean. I'm not that person. I don't want to be doing all the scrubs on the floor. I will clean because I have to, but let me tell you, I do not want to. So if I can afford, because I showed up for me, to hire somebody else to do it, then I'm buying my time back. If I have a driver and I'm in the back, then I can drive and I can do work. I'm buying my time back. And so I guess it is a luxury you afford yourself when you invest into the things that are going to multiply what you spend in order to get that time back. And so that's what life is all about. It's about saying, if I can create a program that makes this much amount a month, then I can buy my time back. I have time to invest in other areas. I have time to create multiple streams. I have time to actually dream. And so Rondell said something that was key. If you got a new car and you're trying and you got a vision board, and on that vision board is a house, and it is starting a business, and whatever is on there is about time that you created a plan to go alongside that vision board. And so now that you have a picture, that is that stage, that is the promise. But right before the picture is the process, it is the dash. So the question is, what are you doing with that? What are you doing with that part? Are you writing down what it's going to take to get to the house? What it's going to take to get to the car? What it's going to take to get to that business? So when in 2012, when I did my vision board and I said, I want to start a movement, I choose me, #no more excuses. I wrote it down, but then I knew what it was going to take was me going live, me getting a logo done, I had to commit to the process. And so we got to recognize that the vision board is the promise, but the process is how we get there, how we multiply ourselves, the work we do, the dream that we show up in every day, how we hire ourselves, how we budget our life. Is just simply a budget, because you have when God says you got everything you need, he ain't lying. You just got to really sit down. And so I think we got to really sit and what we have, what our oil is.
And do inventory check.
Inventory check.
Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Inventory check.
Inventory check. That's what it is. Knowing what you have.
Think about it, man. The 12 mile, we were talking about the 12 disciples the other day.
Mm-hmm.
All of them had a business. They all had a business situated first before they went and started discipling around the world. Before they went on tour. I like to say, before they went on tour, they made sure they had their businesses straight. All of them had businesses. So what does that tell you? Get your business straight, then go on world tour. You're trying to go on world tour and don't got our business together. Then wondering why it ain't working.
I think that is key. That is key, because we want to be in a dream, but we don't want to go through the process. We want to be in the dream, but we don't want to go through the process. But the process is what creates the legacy. Is how you are able to pass it down. Because if we are not paying attention what's going out now, and we're in penny pinching, what are we going to do when we get to multi-million dollars? You're going to be out of control. And so,
you have to take
yes,
to get to your
it's a mindset you got to be.
You can't leap over the path.
That's a word.
Now you can try to go different routes, then you're going to get caught up in the woods where you ain't really supposed to be at, trying to avoid what you got to go through.
Yep.
So good. Life easy, man. Trust your guts. Trust your instinct. Every time.
I mean, and you gotta trust your instinct every time, because that's what it's all about. Your instincts will never steer you wrong. Your instinct, I say, is your soul's compass.
Because
it is your guide.
Guess what, man? My wise man once told me, if you overreact, you can always apologize. He said, but if you underreact, it can cost you your life.
Nakia says, Lord knows my years at Wells Fargo has taught me things I implemented today. And that's another key. If you know that your dream is bigger than your job, if you know that your dream is bigger than the job you currently are on or were at, you got to recognize that it is teaching you something. There is a structure that you're going to get from it. There were things that you needed to learn. I said that my assignment, I had this dream of being this well-renowned poet back when I was 15, 16. I was writing poetry back then. And so I thought I had disappointed God when I came down here at 19, got pregnant at 20, had a baby a month shy of my 21st birthday. And I was like, oh my God, I disappointed the dream for myself. I wasn't even going to have kids. And this is what I was telling myself at the time. And as time went on, I realized that my assignment was love at all levels, getting past my pain, realizing that it is about choosing you. It is about being able to represent being a wife, being a mom, and also being a dreamer and showing up in that. And so I had to learn that all of those things were implementing something that we are today, where we are today. And so with Nakia, you are in the financial field. Why? That's because God was already implementing. I always think about your dad always talking about that. So it's like God knows what he's doing with you. He knows why he sends you certain ways. He knows why he puts you through certain things, but he's waiting to get back the investment that is you. And so I put you on that job for you to learn some things, because that desire inside that you always would clock in and you would call and be like, girl, this is just not for me. It was God letting you know that this is your training. And so what are we doing in our time? I say, when we're in the waiting room, we're in the training. And so God knows who you want to be. He knows what you want to do, but he knows it requires training. You can't just show up and what you want without actually understanding every area of it. And so life is teaching you every area of the training, every area of your desires, all of that. You're being trained. That's why I said it was all for you. Everything you've been through was all for you, but you just got to open up your eyes and see, what am I doing? Am I budgeting right? Am I doing everything in my power to control this vision that I have for myself? Am I really being intentional with every single part? Like being aware in the moment. Not saying that I'm not going to treat myself, but saying I'm not going to treat myself not as much if I don't see the return on the investment. And so we got to get into the season of being conscious of what God is sending, because he wants to know, how good are we over little before he gives us much? Are we really paying attention to what we're doing? Is it really something tied to our spending? How are we moving the money? How are we doing it? Are we doing it in a wasteful way? Are we doing it in a boastful way? Are we doing it for the outside, for the shell, or are we doing inside work? Are we preparing? And so all of that is going to decide the multiplication of what we become and where we go. So I'm so glad we talked about this today. I think, honey, God knows I need this topic, because I had so many limitations. So many. So let's see, what does this say? I am missing this conversation. It keeps freezing. Thank God for the replay. Yes, honey. You're going to be able to come back. Got to lift those faith weights to build that faith muscle. That's it. You know what I say? Yeah, build that spiritual muscle. Build that faith muscle. Like, implement those things. Be intentional. Be about your dreams. Be about that process. Be about it all. Let me see. We have a poem in here. I'm looking here. We're going to get us a little poem. We at the 50-minute mark. Nakia says, if we can't If we can't manage the little we have, how will we handle the millions? And that's it. We are showing ourselves approved. We are going through our own training. He needs to know, what are you doing? Do you even know where it's going? Do you even know where it's going? Are you being intentional? Are you being proactive? Are you actually planning? You know how many of us would have been in those dream houses, had them dream businesses, send our kids to wherever the best places, went on vacation. You know how many would have done that if we were just more intentional about how we budget, how we spent, what we invested in, if everything was an investment. You know, I believe 70% of the stuff that we actually buy is not an investment, which is why our balance is so off. Is why it's so off. And so it's saying, what am I putting in? And then what am I getting out? That's a major, major, major question that we have to always ask. So let me see. How tall is your ladder? Let's see. That sounds like a good place to go. We're reading from Precious Thoughts from the Soul. I always forget to. And right down there, scrolling, you can find ways to get whatever you see me reading from, whether it's the game, the book, the calendar, whatever. All of this is at Precious Thoughts from the Soul. Okay, this is How Tall is Your Ladder on page 18. Where is your faith when you can't see? Where is that burning desire to know that things will always be? Can you see your dreams when lying in the dark? Will you allow God to come and be your undying spark? Where is your faith when the rain seems to pour? Why is it that you believe there will be sunshine no more? Don't you know that pain and love is what gives balance to all? Did you realize we will never appreciate standing if we never had to fall? Can you see the world still turns even when you stand still? Because it's not in our power, but it's all about God's will. Where is your faith when it seems you are standing on your last leg? Why is it you still don't drop to your knees and beg? Beg God for forgiveness for not coming to him first. Why wait to the point when your situation has gotten worse? For when we have faith in God, he is the first that you call. Not after you have exhausted every possibility and your back is on the wall. For the sky is the limit, but your faith is the ladder to the gifts God holds. But if you don't believe in his power, then your future will not unfold. For God has your life wrapped up waiting to see just how long it will take for you to get to thee. So again, I ask, how tall is your ladder to the things you want and need? For it starts with your faith in God, which determine will you succeed. So let's start building our ladder of faith to the sky. For it is only our faith, love, and relationship with God that will get us by. And so I think that's great for today. How tall is your ladder? And so anything you want, we can create. Anything we want, we can budget. Anything we want, we can have, because God said, I've already given you access. The question is, are you creating plans to go with your access? And so it's one thing to have access, but it's one thing to have a plan to attach to the access that God has already given you. Everything you need, you already have. So what is it about? It is about us seeing and feeling and operating in, once again, all the I am that allow us to become our magic through all these abracadabra moments. So let's see what these last comments before we get our I am card for the day. That's why people that win the lottery go back broke within the next 2 years, right? Because they didn't get no training. That's how a lot of stars retiring broke. It's like you were a millionaire because you had to look the part instead of being the part. And I think if we would operate more on being the part, and that's investment. Investments is being. Looking is what we throw away. So when I am investing, I am operating in the being that I am. When I am being just throwing money away, when I'm just not being intentional, then I'm operating on the look of it. And so we got to not be so concentrated on the look of it, but really be concentrated on the being of it. What does it represent? You tell each of your dollars earned where to go versus wondering where they all went. Come on now. I love that, Kia. Kia, we have to have you on so that you can give them access to them being able to get their credit correct, being able to create a budget, being able to get on that mindset of that equality, of being able to be equal with yourself in what you get in and what you put out. We are in control of our own money, our own, resources, our own responsibility. And so I think that is super clear of realizing if we just pay attention to what we're spending, we'll recognize how much we're throwing away and how much more we could be investing. Because we're not saying hold the money, we're saying move the money in areas that are going to multiply your return. That way, when you got 100 things going out, that you can have 100 things coming in. So it offsets it. You ain't spending when you're earning. You're only spending when you're not earning. Remember that. You're not spending when you're earning. You're only spending when you're not earning. We got to offset it, but not offset it where we zero it out. We always got to make sure that we're making more than we're spending. Oh boy, I needed this one today. What's the title of that one? I need to read it again. Oh, that was How Tall Is Your Ladder? How tall is your ladder? Become your magic. Pop your link in the Kia. Come on now, Kia. Become your magic. Become your magic. And so without further ado, we're at the 56-minute mark. And so I'm going to get our cards. We only got a few cards left. We have been going through the ABCs of How Special I Am, a game that you can find at PreciousPaulin.com, which comes with all the definition. It is a game for the kids, for you, for me, for your friends, for events. When I say this is a multi-functioning game right here, a game changer. So let me get this down so that we can see what is today's card. Here are the ABCs of How Special I Am. And so every day at the end of the live, we try to find an I am that God wants us to connect to for this particular Become Your Magic Power Hour. So right now, God, we thank you for always coming in. We thank you for always showing up in whatever message you want to send through us or whatever the comments that people are bringing from their experiences. We know that being evidence is about becoming a testimony of all that you took us through from valley to mountaintops. And so through the journey is the climb. And so today we were talking about how do we climb better? How do we budget better? How do we be more intentional? And so teach us right now in this special I am of what you want us to know about ourselves that will further take us to better places, better seasons in ourselves and in who you called us to be. So the I am for today is, oh my God, I am the bridge. I am the bridge. And so I think that is what is so key about what we spoke about today. Whatever area that we can show up in, whatever area that we can see ourselves in, we recognize that it is a relay race and somebody is relying on us. So what we're learning here, what we're taking there, what we're picking up, what we're dropping off is what makes us a bridge. This has been I know, right, Kia, my God, we couldn't pick a better card. And so being able to really show up in who you are, really being able to be mindful about how you're budgeting, mindful about how you're dreaming, mindful about how you're hiring yourself. All of that is leading you to your assignment of being the bridge because God only sent you to be a bridge. Somebody needs to get over because you got through. You hear me? Somebody needs to get over because you got through. And so all of these lessons that you have turned into your blessings, it is time for you to now become your magic with every abracadabra moment that led you to becoming the bridge you are. It doesn't matter where you're going. It only matters where you came from and how you can bridge somebody else's gap in this world. And so this is powerful, powerful, powerful. Yes, I love it. Put that I am a bridge. I want you to know that you have been tuned in to the Become Your Magic Power Hour, where you have plugged into me, the Queen of Soul Stirring Inspiration. We had Chef Ron a little earlier with his insight, which is what took us to budgeting, what took us to being intentional, what took us to recognizing that we have the power, that everything we need, we really already have. We just have to sit in it. We have to recognize that God is sending you through those things so that you can be the bridge. And what you've been through is what makes you the bridge. So as Kia said, she started at Wells Fargo and now she's her own boss. And now she's a bridge. She can speak to people. She can influence people because why? Because she went through training. So what did you go through training in that makes you the bridge for somebody else? I love you. Yes, honey, you were gone. We about to end out. That's been an hour already. He's like, I picked the card without him. Look what we picked. I am a bridge. Yeah, he just had to shake his head. I am a bridge. Come on now. So I just enjoy. I deeply enjoy the Power Hour. It feeds me. I'm believing even more than it's feeding you guys. But I just want you to know that you can never turn on anybody else's light. But you can provide enough light for them to find their switch. So stay lit in this world so somebody can find their way out of the darkness. Remember, this is the Become Your Magic Power Hour where we come together to ignite each other's abracadabra moments that led us to our magic. And so I leave you with this. Take care of your souls. I choose me. # no more excuses because you were born enough. Kia, become your magic. Become your magic. Become your magic. Become your magic. I see you, baby. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, get this as a Christmas gift. Come on now. Come on now. I am a bridge. Let me make sure I hit you guys. I am a bridge so we can see your name claiming it before I go out because that's so much more important. I am. The I am you call yourself. Come on now. I am. I love that. Let me put I am. There we go. Bam! Here we go. You are my bridge, and I am now the gravy master up in here. Kia learned how to make gravy the other day. She came up here. Now she a professional. I am a bridge. Like I said, please go to preciouspaulin.com. I choose me Bling Boutique. You name it. All these queens that are on, please put your links in the comments so that if anybody needs anything from anybody in this community that we support one another. Why? Because we are the bridge. We want to be able to say that we helped somebody over. Love you guys. See you guys tomorrow at 12.